It's hard, man. Like, you pay a lot up front. To start anything from ground up is way harder than anyone thinks. And
right.
I mean, unless you're this massive superstar with a huge following, that might help. But even at that, man, you still have to make a great product with great experiences, and you have to get customers to come back, because that's where the money's actually made. It's the returning customers.
You just mentioned your wife. When did y'all meet? How did that?
High school sweetheart, man.
Oh, for real?
Oh, wow. That's
even before that, man. Like, we went to like elementary school together, so kind of crazy.
Dang. And where did she go to college? So did you guys
guess where she went, man?
Maryland.
Arizona State.
Arizona
man.
State.
I knew there was one brilliant one. I knew it.
Yeah, man.
Look at us. Entrepreneur as well, huh?
Yeah, man, for sure. She's
a
killing
successful entrepreneur. Apparently.
Absolutely.
So what was that business? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, so she started. It was funny because 3 teams, like 4 moves, right, in 4 years, and she's like, I'm not finding another job. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm gonna find a way to work from home. So I'm like, you are not just sitting here. Like, there's no way you're sitting here all day doing nothing. So you have to find something. So she started hand painting wine glasses. She got one from her aunt, thought it was cool. Thought she could like do something with it. So I'd come home and she's putting them in our oven, right? And I'm starving. I'm like, get these things out of the damn oven, right? And they take like 30 minutes to bake like the paint on. And I'm like, this is so stupid, right? So they start selling and like selling to the point where like she's putting them in the oven all day long. And I'm like, come on. So she had to find a way to scale it, because there's no way, like, you're not going to make enough money doing that. Right. It took so long to hand paint them and all that. So she started doing vinyl and cutting it, and all of a sudden, like, it started taking off. And my season ended and my contract ended, so I started looking into it. I'm like, man, there is a huge opportunity here. And really started focus on the wedding industry, and we found out really quick, like, weddings are going nowhere. There's going to be weddings. It doesn't matter what time of the year it is, and people are going to pay the most money they've ever paid for anything, and they don't care. Like, they're just going to cough it up. Right. So I started looking into that, and then I just started looking at like profit margins, different products, what was selling, what wasn't, and then just turnaround times. Like, if you wanted something customized, it was like a 2 to 3 week process for the most part. So we found a way to buy the best lasers and technology that we could, and get it down to a point where we were shipping stuff mostly same day. And what ended up happening was, like, just the fact that it was going out so quick, we get emails like, hey, I ordered this with, my personalization on it, but you guys forgot to do it. And we're like, no, we did it, and we already shipped it, and it'll be there in 2 days. And they would just freak out, like, 5-star reviews off the charts, sharing it, telling all their friends, any last-minute stuff, they were coming to us. So it just organically grew, and it just exploded. So I was working out of my house. I have a laser engraver with a vent going out my window of of the kitchen.
No way.
It was insane. And next thing I know, we're buying a bigger house. My whole 3-car garage is full, and it's the spare bedroom downstairs, and we're just blowing like smoke out because it burns into the wood, right? I'm like, my neighbors are gonna kill me, man. And our front porch is just like, people would come by and take pictures of it because there was just boxes stacked up over our door, and they're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, cops are driving by every day. Like, no one, they think we're like selling drugs or something, right? Yeah. Like, they're like, something, like, they just moved in here and they got boxes stacked up every day to the top of the door. Like, something's going on here. And it was crazy. So we did that it was almost like 2 years out of my house, until it was finally just so ridiculous that we had to get a storefront.
Wow.
So that continues to grow, but you're still playing, and you guys moved. What made you guys decide to come back to Dallas?
It's crazy. So her parents, she's from Buffalo. Her dad gets transferred out here. He was with the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and he just got transferred out to Dallas like maybe 5 years before I went to the Cowboys. So we used to come visit him. He lived in Bedford, right near Arlington. We go to the games. We go to the baseball games as well. It's kind of like our vacation spot. And then once I came to the Cowboys, you think you're going to play there forever, right? For sure. So, like, the rest of her family starts moving out here and everything. So, like, her sister's here, her brother's here, and her dad's here, and then her whole family starts moving out. So, once I was done playing, it was either Buffalo, where really no one of my family was there anymore. My brothers were everywhere, and, my mom was in Florida. My dad was still there because his business is there. But, it was just it was either Buffalo or Dallas, and the business had started. Like, business here is great, no state income tax, and all the distributors are here, and shipping is super easy out of Dallas as well because you're centralized. So
You just come talk to some of our clients.
Yeah. I'll be moving out here soon, man.
Yeah, they'll be here.
But it's great for business too as well, and just nice weather, and I loved it, man. I loved it when I played here, so we settled here, and I'll be here probably forever.
That's awesome. So I want to fast forward to, okay, you make the transition, you were ready to do that, but now you've got your wife's company, you're growing that, but now it's like, okay, I'm going to do something on my own. So take us into the ice shaker story.
Yeah, man. So we're 5 years into her business. It's doing well. I didn't need to do anything else, but like, I didn't tell anyone what I was doing. Like, it wasn't like I was proud of it, right? Yeah. Like, I was making a shit ton of money, but I wasn't like telling my boys or anyone about it. Like, yo, so what do you do?
Bro, what do you even do now?
They're like, what do you
hand paint wine glasses.
Yeah. So like,
And why are your ovens full?
So, yeah, man. So people are asking. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure things out. Like, I'm not telling anyone, and I'm not using like social media. Like, I'm never posting. Like, no one has any clue what I'm doing. I was just grinding, man. Like 80 hours a day. Like, just didn't, 80 hours a week. Just didn't care. Like, I'm just, because the second that laser machine stopped, I lost money or I didn't make money. Yeah. So like, I wouldn't even go to the gym. I wake up and just, let's start cranking out orders, and each one I did made a lot of money, so I just kept cranking them out, man. Awesome. So didn't tell anyone, but at the end of the day, man, it got to the point where, like, on Sundays we'd have family over, everyone's having a good time, and like, I'm sleeping on the couch because I'm exhausted. Like, that's all I did. So at that point, I'm like, man, I need to like do what I want to do, like figure things out. Like, money's cool, and money's cool for everyone, right? At first, when you're young, especially,
right?
But you come to that point where like there's things that are a lot more important than that. So that's when we started, like, kind of try to figure out other things, and I kind of wanted to figure out a way to kind of follow my passion of sports and fitness and health, and that's what I did my whole life, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. So really just thought of this idea in Texas that 100 degrees out, and I have the same plastic shaker that everyone had for the last 20 years, and it was just something where I was like, man, there's got to be something better out there than this. And when I looked for it, there was just nothing out there. So at that point, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to make a really cool cup for myself, like that I could use all day, every day. Like, I was the most simple dude. Like, I hated using like more than one cup in a day because I didn't want to fill the dishwasher up. So, or like the sink. So I'd be like, I'm going to use the same cup all day, but I can't bring it to the gym, or like I can't bring it to work. So now I got to use 3, and now there's 3 in the sink. Like, I just want 1. So that's kind of where it came from. Like, I just wanted to make one cup that I could use all day, every day. And, also be able to go to the gym and be like, hey, I'm working. Like, I could put my gym membership on my business card. Like, that was cool. Yeah. That was like a cool idea for me.
So you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, and there may have been something else out there, but at the time you were the first metal protein shaker, right? The insulated protein shaker on the market.
Yeah. So at that time, there was a bunch of other like insulated cups.
Yeah.
So like Yeti was out there, like Hydro Flask, all them, and I had a Yeti, and I was like, this is awesome.
But
we're actually.
But
you try to put your thumb over it, right? You're trying to shake it, right? It's going everywhere.
Chocolate protein all over your truck.
And like, I'm bringing it to work. I'm like, this is awesome, but I can't bring it to the gym. And we're personalizing them too, like crazy, man. Like there was like thousands of these things coming through our store, and we were selling them for like $150 a piece with personalization on them. Wow. And like when Christmas would come, man, it would be like 10 to 20 grand worth of Yetis a day that we were selling and shipping out. And I'm like, man, this thing, like, why isn't this technology in a shaker bottle form?
Yeah.
And so I went home to search for it, and there was just nothing out there. I mean, if you wanted to use that, it was either, you're trying to cover the hole up, or like there's other bottles, but you couldn't fit anything in it. So you needed, a
little skinny ones like where
So that was all that was really out there at the time. There was other metal bottles, but they weren't insulated. So it's almost no point of having a metal bottle without insulation, because it's a conductor. So if you put ice in it, your hand's freezing. So, at that time, there was nothing there, and it was kind of like the simplest idea no one had done yet.
So when you created this business plan and this idea, what were the steps? Like, hey, okay, now I got to write a business plan. I got to get investors. What was that process?
So there was zero process of business plan or anything, man. It was more like, let's just go make the product, and me just being an idiot and having no plan at all. I was like, I'll just post a couple times and like social and like actually tell people, right? And when you never post on social and you have like I had a following, but you don't engage with them, it's worthless, you know?
Yeah.
Like they don't care what you say, especially if you're trying to push product, if you haven't engaged with them in 2 years, you know?
Yeah, right.
So, I buy it. You know, I get a bunch of prototypes. I finally get a
How
bottle
did you
I
know
like.
where to go though to like get it made? Like, I mean, was
Yeah.
it just through the industry, the business you had relationships?
So yeah, we were sourcing all of our own product for the other company. So
Okay.
I had the relationships already. Like,
Okay.
we went out and we made really good, high quality gifts, and then we were branding them to my wife's business
Got
and all
it,
that,
okay.
and like the packaging, all that was already being done. So I used those same connections and just they're like different traders and stuff too that you can use, and they'll find you the right manufacturer. So use the same connections, and we're able to start getting prototypes made and stuff like that. And it took a while. It takes way longer than you think, and you're so excited about it that it feels like it takes forever.
Right.
But finally comes in and get them. I ordered 10,000. I'm so pumped, and I sit there like that night. I finally get them. I'm like, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah.
like no game plan, man. Nothing at all. So at that time, like I went and I refused to like spend money, man. Like it was kind of like how our parents raised us, like, save your money. Like I wasn't going to pay for ads or anything. Right.
That accountant background as
yeah,
well, man.
So, like super cheap with it. And you'll try to make every penny last. And I spent a lot of money like getting product and stuff and all that. So I didn't want to spend money on advertising. So I tried to just do like the SEO thing with the website. And the main thing that really helped was Amazon at the time.
Yeah.
So like I used someone else's audience to build it. And what I did was I went on there and I searched all the terms and saw like what all the top listings were doing. So like, why was this one the first one to show up? And then I'd kind of copy what they would do. I'd look at it, be like, all right, these are all the keywords that they're ranking for. Well, that keyword shows up in the title, shows up in the description, multiple times or keyword stuff in it. Let me try that. Let me see if it works. So I try that and I'd be like, oh man, like this one has really sweet pictures and there's like 10 pictures of showing every angle. Maybe it's something about the pictures too. So then I'd add more pictures and all of a sudden my thing would just start shooting up. And next thing I knew, I was like the third one under shaker bottle, which was the biggest term I could rank under. So at that point, like went from like selling 2 to 3 a day to selling like 20, 25 of them a day. And at that point it was just still trying to get the product out in front of people. So had to do like the bodybuilding shows and I'm just hawking people down, man. Like I'm bringing my jersey with me, like putting it in my booth, man. Like, trying everything, man. So I have a plastic bottle in my hand and I'll have mine and they're both full of ice. And like every person I walked by had to have it. Like I had to hand it to them. Like, here, touch this. Right. I guarantee you haven't seen anything like this. And they're like, oh, you just put rocks in there. I'm like, no, there's ice in there. And then the second they took off the top and they looked inside the cup, they were sold. Yeah. Like it was done at that point. Like there's no way there's ice in it. I'm like, I guarantee there is. And if there is, you got to buy one. And they're like, okay, okay. And so that's just had to just grind it out, man, at the beginning and get it in people's hands. And I just wanted to also just prove that it was something worth the time. Yeah. You don't know. I mean, you get excited about something, you think it's a great idea, but it's your idea. So like you always think it's great. Yeah. But you got to see how other people respond to it to know if it's actually something that people want.
That's what I was going to ask is, it's because you've made money, right? So money's not necessarily the driver probably, but like what was the drive? Like why were you willing to go hop people down and do all that type of stuff?
It was just my passion. Like I wanted to be able to be in the sports and fitness industry. Like I wanted to be able to go to the gym and be like, hey, I'm working. Like that was the crowd I always wanted to be in. And this was opportunity to get me there.
Yeah.
What was the support like? What was your wife? So, is your wife still running her business?
Still running it, yeah. So we both still run our business.
So what was that like? What was support like? Because you guys are staying in the same house. You got 2 separate businesses.
Yeah. So I mean, it was really it was a side hustle for me at first. At first it was after work do that. It wasn't like I had this full business plan. I was going all in. Like even with her business, it started small and we just built it up to the point where I could sustain, what I was making from her business in mine. So that was kind of the game plan. So yeah, she wasn't too excited about it at first until, it got to that point where, it made some good money. So it's hard, man. Like you pay a lot up front. To start anything from ground up is way harder than anyone thinks. And I mean, unless you're this massive superstar with a huge following, that might help. But even at that, man, you still have to make a great product with great experiences, and you have to get customers to come back because that's where the money's actually made. It's the returning customers.
Well, how did you handle no?
No?
How did you handle that word? Because I'm sure as an entrepreneur, you're going to hear that word.
Yeah. No, what you get really frustrated with is like the bad reviews at first, right? And I would get pissed at first, and I'm sure everyone does. And you're like, "What do you mean it sucks?" You know, it's the best thing ever, right? So you get pissed, but then you realize really quickly that is the best feedback that you can get, because everyone else you asked up to that point is going to tell you it's the greatest thing ever.
That's right.
They know you, they're your family, they're your friends. So like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. But you never really figure out what's wrong with it or what you need to fix until you have an unbiased opinion. So
so crazy story about it. So I got a shaker bottle. You gave me one at one point, and then I got one at an event.
Yeah, the shooter event. Yeah,
the hoot shoot. Yeah, and so the little like handle thing, right, had broken off, and I was like, okay, whatever, like no big deal. I don't even know. I don't think I ever said anything to you.
No, you didn't. I saw you at the gym with it, and I was pissed that the handle was broken on it.
Hey, no joke. Within 5 days of it breaking, and I never said anything, and literally 5 days later, in my mailbox, I got a freaking new lid with the handle on it. But again, I never said anything, and I really didn't think a ton about it. I'm like,
God,
look at where did this go from? But that was crazy, and for me, and again, and I'm gonna endorse it. I know you love the product, and you totally, but literally, guys, this is the best product, like really, since the Yeti Cup for sure, because. Like you said, you don't feel it, you shake, but you can. The other thing, protein shakers, if you ever forget it in your car, it's done. You can't use it again,
right?
Because you can't get that nasty protein shake smell out of it. Doesn't happen, right? And because of the metal and how he's designed it and all these things, man, it is like next level. And again, drinking, you finish your pre-workout or whatever before your workout, and then you fill it up with water, and it's ice cold the entire workout. It's like a game, and then you fill it up with your protein shake because you just rinse it out and it doesn't have the residue like the normal protein shakers do.
man, us meatheads love that.
That's right. Yeah, but I'm telling you, like,
to him right now.
it is a game changer, absolute game changer.
I got to hear about the Shark Tank story.
Yeah.
Let's get to that.
That was classic. For
That's
sure.
so cool.
Yeah, so that story was. It started in 2012 when I was with the Broncos, and I don't know if you guys ever got these, but like Rosenhaus sent out an email to everyone and just said like, hey, ABC Shark Tank is looking for any current or former players. If you have any cool ideas and want to go on the show, let me know. So, back then I'm like, I have nothing, but I love this show, so I don't even know how to use email at the time, but I put like a star on it, right? Right. And so I save it, and I'm like, one day I'm going to think of this greatest idea ever, right? And I'm going to come back and come on the show. So fast forward to 2016, I think of the idea for the shaker, and I kind of went into the play, and I'm like, this is the game plan. Like, I'm going to get a decent amount of sales, prove the concept, and then I'm going to hit them up. I'm going to get on the show. So I get about 3 months in. We have about 25,000 in sales, and at that point, I'm like, hey, that's good enough to at least say, like, it's a business, right? Like, there's something there. And then I knew there'd still be more time to grow it before, I ever had a chance to get on the show. So hit him up, hit the girl back, and send her this email. And, it's 4.5 years later, and she writes back, and it's like, I am not with the company anymore. And I'm sitting there like, yes.
Dang.
Can't believe that never crossed my mind, right? So luckily, I didn't even know what to write back at that point, and I was just like, I was destroyed, right?
Take luck.
I'm like,
God
there
bless.
goes my whole sweet plan, right? And then within 10 minutes, she hits me back up. I was like, hey, I did find the girl that replaced me, and
wow, she
here's her
did that
contact
for you.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, so she put me in contact with her, and that girl wrote back and was like, hey, submit a video, and they give you the outline of what they want to see in it. So they want to know the product, the sales, what it does, your background, stuff like that. Yeah. So me knowing it's this entertainment show, I'm like, all right, I'm going all out on this.
Before you tell the story,
well, what year was this again?
What's the over under that he had his shirt on in the video?
No chance. No chance. I'm imagining a beer shower with a protein shake.
My God.
Oh man. So yeah, that definitely came off multiple times. I think I even ripped it off. I think I ripped my shirt off during it. But
were you looking in the camera? Were you looking right at the camera?
I was close ups with just straight bicep curls,
do a push up, curls in the back.
Of course, I throw my one touchdown catch in there too, with the Cowboys, and I got Rob. I'm like, Rob, you got to get in on the shoot, man. I got to get at least one shot of you. So got him on it too, and
that's awesome.
Just did everything, man. It was terrible, worst editing ever too. Just put a song over it, and it was trash, but it was so bad that it was good. It was entertaining, right?
Yeah.
It was super entertaining.
Right. They need you on the show.
It was ridiculous. So send it in. You do it like unlisted on YouTube, so you can see if anyone watched it, but no one else can see it. So only if you have the link, you can see it. So I waited for like a week. I'm checking it every day, like every couple hours. I'm like, yo, did anyone watch it yet? And then finally, like 8 people watched it. So I'm just sitting by my phone like, let's go. And finally they hit me back like 2 days later after they watched it. And they're like, that was amazing. Like, greatest video we've seen. Usually they're so boring. So like, all right, sweet. Like what's next? And it was just like, a lot of due diligence, paperwork. Like they can't bring you on the show if you have anything against you that can hurt them. So so a cool story comes out of that too. Did
they ask you about the hot tub?
They did not. Man.
They'll come back to hurt us.
They asked me about why I had like a tax lien from Indy on my record, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I have to like go do all this research. I had my second year. I had a CPA do my stuff, so I'm like, I know I didn't mess that up. Like he did it. I paid him a lot of money to do it. Like he better not mess it up, right? So it comes down to like they said they never got my e-file. And then I took my tax refund because they owed me money, right? Yeah. So they say like now I owe them money back. So, I'm like, I'm not calling them. Like I'm getting my CPA to call them because this is gonna suck doing this. So he has to call him for like a week straight to get him on the phone. The one day, finally, after like 4 days, he sat on hold for like 12 hours straight to get him on. They finally pick up the phone and he says, hey, I e-filed it. I have the paperwork right here. And they were like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry about that.
That's it.
We'll get it taken off."
Moved on.
That was it.
Man.
So he gets that taken off, right? Go back to the show, and we're like, "All right, we got it cleared." Like, "Oh well, we need paper documentation signed by them saying that you got it cleared, right?" He's got to call back again, man, and sit on the phone for like another it was a ridiculous amount of time, and has to get a piece of paper signed by them saying that.
Oh my gosh.
Finally, he gets that, but it takes a while, and he's calling them every day trying to get it. But it was like, man, like they definitely do their homework and make sure that people that are going on the show aren't going to give them any kind of trouble as well.
So this is your product, but for those of you who haven't watched it, the whole crew joins you. So what was the thought process behind that? Now, how did that come to be?
So I knew like if the brothers came on, I knew it was going to air, right? And what people don't know is like every show doesn't air. Like you can go there and you can actually go there and get to the hotel and they might not even record. And then they might record you and they still might not play you.
Oh, man.
Oh, damn.
So it's actually a hybrid. Like I think it's like 30% don't air.
Right.
Really?
Wow. So did you know this going in?
So I did. So I knew this. Like they had told me that it's a possibility that even if I film, like if your show sucks, they're not showing it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about the ratings.
Yeah. Like it's got to be entertaining or not showing it. So the producer suggested that I bring my brothers on. I'm like, all right, if I bring them on, we're airing for sure. Right. So it was all in there. I had to fly them out first class. And
I was gonna say, what did they make you do to get them? All right,
So they're like,
brother, we got to bail you out.
Yeah.
they're like, we're flying from New England to Cali for one day. We need first class seats there and back. Like they needed the pods too. Like we have to fly JetBlue on the pod. I'm like, bro, that's my entire marketing budget for the year.
If I get into
It was worth it, though.
That's what it went to.
It was well worth it, though.
Yeah, for sure. So they flew out for that and just flew in for like half the day.
Yeah.
And they do a great job. Like, no one knew they were there. Like they don't let anyone know. No one knows. Like I couldn't tell anybody that I was going to be on the show. And it sucks because like you get offers and then like there's like this 4-month break where like, or it could be longer than that where you can't tell anyone. So
who ended up
It's like being the
offering for you?
Bachelor.
Yeah, exactly. It always he always leaks out somehow too. But like you sign this massive contract. Like if you tell people early, like you can get fined some insane amount of money. So I tell my dad, and like he's like telling all his friends. I'm like, come on, Dad.
Oh my god.
Like, Dad, why is your friend calling me? Like, how does he know?
Hook a brother up. Hook me up. Let me get on that show.
I didn't tell him. Like he just walked in on the conversation. I'm like, well, who else are you telling it to?
So how did the actual like filming go? Is it real that like they literally on the show recording, that's when they actually set the investments, or is it like done behind the scenes?
No, so it's all real. So like they had no clue who I was when I came out there. They knew my name and I think my company name, and that was it. I don't even know if they know the company name until like that day because they don't want them to go research it. Like they want it to be legit, like for the first time seeing it. So they had no clue who I was. We're out there and I'm actually pitching for over an hour. And they're breaking me down like, Wow. What'd you do before high school? What'd you do in high school? Like, where'd you go to college? Did you work in college? Like, what'd you do right after the NFL? All that stuff. So they knew everything about me going into like an investment. It wasn't like I played Flip Cup and they were like, right. Here's an offer.
Let's do it.
That first offer was actually like 25 minutes into the pitch. And at that point I was like, man, this, I don't know what's going to happen here. Like I was getting scared at that point. Right. And then Mr. Wonderful out of everyone drops the first offer. And I'm like, damn, man, hell yeah, let's go. So, but yeah, it was a while, man. And they knew everything about me. And there was even more offers on there, but we ended up getting offers from all 5. And then I had to make a decision between, those 5 offers.
And the decision.
Who'd
you go with?
So we went with Mark Cuban, and then Alex Rodriguez was a guest on the show as well. So, ended up, I was like, man, 2 sports guys, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tried getting Lori in on as well, and they were like, hell no. So,
do all 5 of you want to?
Yeah, so strategically, right, they've got the names, they've got that. Was it also weighing in on like how much they can actually add value to the company? And then after the fact, how hands-on or how much do they actually like help?
Yeah, so for me, it was kind of like, they got the MLB, NBA, and we got the NFL. Like, that's a pretty nice trio right there, right? So that's what I was thinking going into it. So yeah, I mean, going into the show, they did tell me who was going to be out there. So like, they don't just leave you hanging on the gas. Like you don't show up and like, oh, there's A-Rod. Like, you actually know, so you can do a little research. But I knew nothing about him, and I don't think anyone did at that point. And at that point too, it was kind of like he was kind of like blackballed from the MLB and stuff like that. So it was kind of like iffy. But Mark came in and was like, I'm only doing this kind of deal. If A-Rod does too. So, but no, it was kind of taking a chance there as well. But we just did like a big bro huddle, and we decided within like the football huddle basically on who we wanted to go with, and that's how we made the decision. So
That's awesome.
It all worked out. But afterwards, it's you don't actually like you shake hands, but it's not. They have to do a bunch of due diligence still. Yeah. Like if you say like, hey, I did. At that point we did like 80,000 in sales, right, in the first 6 months. They came back and they were like, dude, you did like 50. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? We're not going to give you a mill for the company like you wanted. Right. They can. So at that point too, it's like only like 50 to 60% of the deals actually close.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what you don't know as well. So even if you get an offer on the show, you could still walk away, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. But their term sheets are definitely favorable for them.
Absolutely.
And they do it. And I see a reason why, especially me. Like they crushed me on mine because I know they were like, these guys are kind of crazy. This is kind of this is kind of risky. Right. So I saw my term sheet and I was like, damn, man, is this normal? And I had my lawyer look over and he was like, nah, that ain't normal at all. So they definitely put things in there to protect themselves. So it made sense though. They can get out really easily if they need to. Like if I do something really stupid, they can easily, take themselves out of the company. So there's stuff like that put in it. But it's real. Like you close the deal, the money goes into your bank account. The exposure is massive.
I was going to say from an exposure, if nothing else.
Yeah. What did sales do after that show?
Yeah. So, and then proof of concept with all 5 offers was kind of like, all 5 of them want it. Everyone at home needs to too, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So sales exploded. We were on Amazon and on the website, but Amazon sold out in like 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So all the product there sold out, and it was great because it was all of our older units.
Yeah.
So I blew through all my old stock immediately. And then if you wanted like the good stuff, you had to come to my website, and we did that on purpose because we wanted to collect a customer base. At that time, I had no clue who my customer was, no idea. I thought I was selling to dudes like me that were like, 20 to 30s, just trying to get swole, right? I get all that data back, and like the more research we did, and back then Facebook would basically tell you everything. So you could take your email list, upload it into Facebook, and it would break down like what car they drive, what age they are, how many kids they have, how much money they make, where they went to school, like all this crazy stuff. So took all that, put it back into Facebook, and realized really quick that our customer who was actually buying the product was mostly female. And they were buying for their husbands, kids, grandkids, stuff like that. So, and it might just be the audience base of Shark Tank as well. But really quickly, we pivoted and we aired in October. So we were going right into the holiday season, and I changed all the targeting from 35, males to just like all female, right? And our sales just exploded for the holidays. So it was pretty cool to see that. But working with them, it's not like you make a deal and then they come and take over your company. Like it doesn't just end and you're chilling. Like
Yeah.
you're still running the whole damn show,
For
man.
sure, for sure.
And they're there pretty much just as an advisor to help you out, and that's pretty much it. So, you 20x your company overnight. The work also 20x is overnight, and at that time it was a side hustle, and I really didn't have employees, so it got pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, you didn't have any employees. It was just online, or
It was really a side hustle out of my house, and then borrowing my wife's employees to help me.
Oh, damn.
is what it
So
came
how did
down
you
to.
scale then? How did you get it to where it is today?
So this whole wave kind of in the Shark Tank wave still lasts till today, man. Like reruns, we actually had the 1 year update too, but they recorded. So like that first whole week is just amazing. Like just sales just piling in, and then really the first month, and then pushed us right into the holidays as well, and then pushed us right into New Year's resolution too in January. So once February hit, that was kind of like I need to figure out how to run a business,
Right.
and that's when the fun started.
Yeah, and that's one thing since we first connected, I think it wasn't long after you started Ice Shaker, is your knowledge of marketing and how to reach different people and how to use social media and how to like understand how to advertise and reach certain people. That's what's like it blown my mind, like absolutely blown my mind. So is that when you kind of had to really kind of understand like, okay, this is how I get it here, and this is what supply chain looks like, and this is what, marketing and all these things. Is that when it kicked after Shark Tank?
So once that wave ended, that's when it all kicks in, man. That's when you figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, because all that free advertising, all the money coming in, that was all amazing, but it wasn't from efforts that I was actually doing on a marketing standpoint. So at that point, I actually reached out to Cuban's team, and I was like, how do I do paid ads? And they were like, hey, man, you probably know your business better than us. So, just start doing it. So,
Right.
so I had to
good
figure it
luck,
out, man.
figure it out.
So I had to
Dang.
figure it out. And they were still a great resource. Like if I wanted to reach out to their other companies that were doing it, they would put me in contact with the CEO or marketing team over there. So I used that as well. I started going on like Facebook groups and going in like different chats and like joining these groups and join like the young entrepreneurship group and stuff like that, just to get more advice from people that were successful in that area.
Yeah. Are you enjoying it now, Mel? Is it still like feel like it's your passion and what you want to do?
Yeah, man. So I mean, I'm going on, and I tell people this, like it took me 4 years to actually figure out like how to run a business the right way.
Yeah.
Like you don't figure out things overnight, and you don't have the resources to get to that stage. It takes time.
Right.
Everything takes time, and I think 2020 actually helped me because I was so stuck in the process of just doing everything day to day. I was doing it all, and I had to step back if I wanted to grow. I was actually hurting the company, but 2020 forced me to step back and give my employees and get processes in place that would take me out of the company a little bit more and delegate a little bit more responsibility. So I finally kind of saw like the NFL structure of a team for the first time and realized like, man, all this time I've been like the only player, right?
Right.
Like I've been the superstar trying to do it all when really it takes a full team to scale it and become something amazing.
And that's something, man, sometimes as a founder or the CEO of a company, and you're so involved in it that you have to take a step back and like have some humility and know that you could put, like you said, you're hurting the growth of your company if you don't step back
100%.
and allow everybody to do their teamwork.
Yeah, and they also don't feel like they're a part of the team.
That's right.
They have no control, and my dad would just tell me over and over again, like all these things I should be doing, and I would just like, I'm not there yet. Like, just keep pushing it off, and now everything he told me, I'm like, I wish I did that like 2 years ago, man. Like he knows exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievable. But I mean, he's been in business for over 30 years, and you just learn those things. And he says to me the same thing. It took me. He had to have consultants come in and tell him what to do and switch things around. And now I have this advice for free, and I wasn't even using it.
That's
so,
right.
Now I'm calling him like every week, like, hey, what else? What other ideas you got, man? Like,
What did I forget that you told
You
me
were right.
already? All right, so what's next for Chris? I mean, obviously, boy number 4, boy number 5, boy number 6. But like, what's next? I mean, for you and your wife, I mean, you guys planted roots here. You've got two businesses that are doing well. You're taking over the social media game. Like you're rolling. What's next for you?
Man, I think we're in a good spot right now. So She's kind of following the same path that I was.
What's your wife's name?
Brittany.
Okay. All right.
So she's kind of following the same path with me. Like, hey, she was still running the whole. I mean, it's 8 years in, and she's still like running the show, like all the responsibilities. And she kind of saw the team we put in place, and now she's doing that as well. So it's amazing to see, especially when she's also taking care of 3 kids, and the oldest is 4 years old. So it's kind of crazy that she was still doing all that. But what's next for us and where we're at right now is we realize that our market isn't saturated at all. I can go to a CrossFit gym down the street and be like, hey, have you guys heard of Ice Shaker? And they'll say no. And I'm like, really? Like that's crazy that there's still that much opportunity. And we have a winner. So why keep creating more stuff? And that's kind of what I got lost in early on. Like, hey, we need more stuff.
Build this, build that.
More colors, like all this stuff. Like, no, we have these winners here. These ones are crushing for us. Let's saturate the market first. Let's get out there more. Let's hit new people, different opportunities first, and then we could grow and get bigger. So there's still new stuff coming, but we really locked down and we're focusing on what we have already and just doing a better job with it.
Man, what a cool message, right? Like we always talk about, hey, I want more. I want what's next. I'm looking forward to growing. I'm looking forward to this. Like really focus on what you're doing and be the best at it. Take over the market. I mean, that's such an important factor because finish something first before you go on to the next thing. And it sounds like you've got a lot left to accomplish with Ice Shaker.
Ton, man. And the market's huge, man. I mean, you look at the big companies like a Yeti or something like that. We're tiny. We're tiny compared to them. There's so much more out there. And for us, what it came down, and I finally took my dad's advice, and I put a budget together. I put a forecast together for the first time this year, and everyone knows their goals now. Everyone knows the responsibility, and everyone's also incentivized based on those goals and those responsibilities. So the whole culture completely changed in the company. Yeah. It was like the coolest thing I ever saw. And instead of me being this guy that's going and bitching at everyone, they're bitching at each other if they're not getting their goals done, man. So it was like the greatest thing that ever happened. And my dad's like, yeah, I told you. I told you to put this in place earlier. But just aligning everyone's goals, man. It's so hard because in the NFL, everyone has that same goal automatically. Yeah. Right. Like you go in there's one goal. You're going to be the best player you can. You're going to try to win this game. In business, everyone's not there to be the best employee. Most people are there just to be there to get a paycheck, and they don't care what really happens with the company. They don't care about winning. So you have to create that culture some way. And when you finally get that down, you're like, wow, man, everyone's now on the same page. And then you just start taking off.
That's awesome.
So when was it that you knew that you were going to be an entrepreneur?
Oh, man. I was selling everything as a kid. And then it was online poker. And then, it was always, man, I was always scrapping to find ways to make money. So I didn't know I would be. I mean, my goal really was to just get the best degree I could. I thought I was going to become an accountant. And then, like, when I was playing, I actually saw a good opportunity to do players' taxes. And I thought, like, man, for 3 months a year, these guys have never filed taxes ever. I'm paying a ton of money to have a CPA do it. I'll come in and I'll be like, this player that did it himself. I have the credibility. I'll go get my CPA degree. I'll partner up with like one of the smartest kids ever at my class, right? Who knows everything. So he can help me out too. And we'll have like this law firm, and I'll just shoot messages or like shoot just letters to all the players around tax time. I'm like, man, I'll probably I'll make 6 figures working like 3 months a year, right? So that was my game plan. That was what I was originally thought I was going to do. Like, so I guess that would be an entrepreneur as well, but the whole thing with my wife's business just came in place, and that kind of just completely faded away. So
that's awesome.
What a cool story, man.
I didn't know I would be, but I was just always just a grinder, man. Like I was always just looking for ways to make more money, and I was even doing it in college. I was doing it with everything, man. So
that's awesome.
It's I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was from watching my dad or just being kind of working, just being in that mindset of, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to figure things out for myself.
That's so awesome, man.
Yeah, I mean, cool. As cool as your story is, the football side, I'm just so fascinated by the business, man. It's cool that you found something else that you can chase just as aggressively as you chase football. So that's awesome.
I mean, to me, you just hear anytime you have a conversation with you, the excitement about the product, the excitement about what you're doing. I mean, I'm sure people listening are like, man, I wish I had that for what I do. What would be your advice? All right. So say you're talking to somebody that maybe is kind of in a rut and they're just working a job and they just are showing up every day to work. What's your advice to someone about following your passion and then the results on the other side of following that?
Yeah, for sure, man. People ask all the time, like, how do you start a business? And my advice is the same every time. Like, it's what I did too. Like, start it as a side hustle. Like, pick what you love and find a way to turn it into something that makes money.
Yeah.
So like for me, it was fitness. Like I love fitness. How can I make money off this? Well, it's not actually working out or being an influencer. It was the shaker bottle.
Yeah.
That's how I found it. So I actually listened to a podcast on the way over, and the girl was talking about how she loved to travel, and she made a living out of it by being a travel influencer. Yeah. Like that's crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
She somehow found a way to travel the world for free. First, she became a travel agent because back in the day, like you can go, like you had to go scope out the place first, right?
Right.
And then she became, after that phased out because of the internet, she then became like a travel influencer and makes money doing that. So it's like, if that's your passion, there's a way to make money off it, because if you're passionate about it, there's a lot of other people that are as well that will pay for whatever it is that you're passionate about to make it easier or more accessible or whatever it is. So there's always a path there. And you see it on Shark Tank too, where like you think it's the stupidest idea, right? But the guy's super passionate about it, and he ends up like saying his numbers, and you're like, dude, you're making that much off this thing?
Yeah.
Like this super little niche thing that you're super passionate
Dog
about?
biscuit? Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, the one guy was shipping potatoes in the mail, right? Like, crazy, man. But you walk in and you're like, that's so stupid. But there's a way, if you're passionate about it, someone else is, and there is some way to make money off it. So start small. It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to have a ton of money. You don't have to have an investment. My wife's business probably started with $500. That was it,
That's
so
awesome.
just find a way to get into it. It takes time, and it takes effort too, man.
Yeah.
Like you can't just sit on your couch and working a full-time job. You still have another 8 hours in the day to do whatever you want. So, there's enough time there to start, even if it's a small side hustle for 2 hours a day, it's still there.
Yeah.
And if you want it, you can get it.
Yeah.
There's enough opportunity for everyone, man.
sure.
In anything that you do, there's never a market that is too saturated. So it's, if you want it, you're going to find a way to get it done.
Love it.
Awesome.
All right, Ben's gonna hit you with our
I mean, I
finisher.
kind of say let's just end it on that. That was great advice. That's awesome. No, our final question.
I mean, because here's the deal. Because I want him to go back and talk to young Gronk in Buffalo, and I want to hear what that is. All right.
yeah,
here we go.
we've joked around. This question is a little more serious, but if you could, we heard your whole journey. If you could go back to any point in your life and just tell yourself one thing, doesn't mean you necessarily go change anything, but if you go back and tell yourself one thing, where do you go and what do you tell yourself?
When, man? Oh, man. I mean, I'll go back and to me, it's kind of like the hard work's going to pay off. Like that's hard to see so many different times in your life. And it's especially as a business owner, man, like there's times where you're like, 4 a.m., I'm coming up here. Like I have to get this order out. Like everyone else is partying. Everyone else is chilling. Like and sometimes you get frustrated with your employees too. Like, and it's not their fault. Like first off, you didn't give them the responsibility, and they have no clue about it, but you're like, man, I'm here at 4 a.m. Why are they still sleeping in, right?
Right.
So you're getting frustrated, and you have to know that the hard work is eventually going to pay off. And that's what I tell myself, man. 4 a.m., earphones in, listen to podcasts about motivation and stuff. And I'm
Listen to the Darren Woodson show, right?
And it's gonna work out, man. It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, man.
What
Appreciate
a
you
great
coming
first
over.
in-person guest.
That's
in the
what I'm
studio.
saying, right?
Goodness.
Yeah, good
This
job.
was his first.
Yeah, Ty actually got you on,
Okay.
man. So Ty actually did something
One
for
for
the
one,
first
man.
time.
Yeah. Ty, well, hey, book some more people, Tyler.
Damn.
There you go, Ty. You're on a roll.
By the way, where can we find you? Social media, Ice Shaker.
I want to hear
Tell
about
us
it.
about all that.
Dude, I'm everywhere.
Give Brittany
so-
a plug too.
Yeah. So my wife's business, Everything Decorated. If you're on Etsy, you've probably bought from her before. She has 3 shops on Etsy. So Everything Decorated, she's got too many. Decorated Bliss, but everythingdecorated.com. Check us out, iceshaker.com. Definitely, we're in Vitamin Shop, GNC, Lifetime Fitness as well. But you get the best selection. Plus, you can personalize on our website as well. And then check me out at Chris Gronkowski, TikTok, everywhere, man. I just pop up, man. People tell me, like, I saw you on Pinterest. I'm like, damn, man. Because people will take my stuff, then repost it too.
Right.
So I just,
Probably your shirtless Shark Tank.
hey, man.
That's the ones I pin most. No, we were talking before the show. You've convinced us we're gonna be TikTokers now. We're meeting here doing our little dances.
We got to
and
get going.
Hey,
What is it?
it's not even the dance, man. It's just bringing value at the end of the day. Like, if you can tell someone something that they don't know or that brings value to them or it's entertaining, they're going to share it, and they're also going to use it as well. So that was the approach, and that's really the approach for any social media for the most part. You better bring something. You better be really entertaining, which I wouldn't say that I am. So I went with the value approach instead. So what can I post that you would actually use? So I do a lot of workout stuff, recipes, like healthy meals that I eat, stuff like that. And then I kind of do the behind the scenes of Shark Tank or the NFL, just things that someone a fan wouldn't know that they would love to know.
That's awesome.
Man.
Yeah, follow him. He's a great follow.
Yes.
I know him, and it's super interesting to me. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But thank you, brother, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming over here, and thanks for breaking in our.
You're
our new
an
place.
inspiration, man. I mean, because you see so many
Seriously, though.
athletes,
No,
brother.
really.
You see so many athletes
Yeah.
that haven't made the transition, and you come from an athletic home. I've been doing this for years in the sports world for years, but now you've made that transition over to be an entrepreneur, man. Really proud of you, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Good stuff, man. Well, appreciate you. Make sure to share this
Dude,
episode.
share this episode
for
with
sure.
all entrepreneurs,
young
you know.
entrepreneurs,
Goodness.
athletes.
Yes.
Your high school kids, whoever. Share this one.
Everybody
maybe,
should listen.
Maybe earmuffs a couple times. Darren's potty mouth.
Get some good party ideas for your college days.
Yeah, don't send your kids to Tucson for sure.
Send them to Arizona State. Send them to Tempe.
You can't get away with that stuff anymore. I'm
No,
telling you.
you can't.
that's
Everything.
right.
By the time I left, they were locking it down, man. So.
Yeah, the Gronks ruined it for everybody.
That's right.
But
Thanks,
appreciate you guys, and we'll